Here we go. Now, today then, we're going back to Camelot and we're having a look. Oh, good morning, Sir Gawain. We're going to have a look today at two myths involving Sir Gawain. Now, although we've already been to the court of King Arthur, Camelot, before, the last time we looked at King Arthur, we focused on him and his wizard mentor, Merlin, mainly. So that was a bit of an overview of King Arthur. And in those stories, we were very much looking at the it's hard to say, more historical side of King Arthur, putting him as a Anglo-Saxon king, or a Briton king before the Anglo-Saxons come, sorry. So an old British king. Today we're looking at the more Christianized stories. So Sir Gawain in our stories today is going to be very Christian, because like all good myths, they change and develop and adapt over time. And so the stories of King Arthur, they became very Christian. Stories that started off with King Arthur and his knights searching for the cauldron of everlasting life, or the cauldron of plenty, ended up being quests for the Holy Grail, Jesus's cup that he used. So they're the same characters, but they change a bit depending on the religious feeling of the time and whoever's writing the stories. So these stories today are a bit later, and the first one shows us a nice sort of crossover between the pre-Christian times and the Christian times, because there's a little bit of both in it. Whereas the second one is very much more pure Christian, I suppose, although you might be able to see traces of the old ways in there as well. So let's start off with who Sir Gawain is. He is one of the knights of the Round Table. And if you remember, if you did see that previous video, the Round Table is the table in Camelot where all of the knights sit around. It is round so that no one knight is more important than the others. So everyone's equal. Although there are some special seats at the table, one of which is for the king. So it's not purely equal, but it's definitely more equal than normal, I guess. Now, Sir Gawain is supposed to be a very pure and noble knight, although he doesn't always get things right, as we'll see in our stories today. But he is directly related to Arthur. He is Arthur's nephew. So he is not just one of Arthur's knights, he is also one of Arthur's family, which is quite nice too, I suppose. And often he is shown wearing red with this star on the front here, which has quite a lot of pagan meaning behind it. So sometimes you see that replaced with a cross for the Christians instead, but same kind of idea. Now, he has a wonderful white horse, does Sir Gawain, and its name is Gringolet. And here's an image of, well, what I think Gringolet would have looked like. We'll see him again later. But Gringolet is a fine and noble beastie, and it's good that Sir Gawain has Gringolet, because the two of them are always going on quests. And to go on a quest in Camelot, or around Camelot, in old England, you've got to ride a long way usually, or go a long way. So having a good, fast, noble stallion to carry around is very useful. So that's Gringolet. And our first story starts at Christmas time, or I should say New Year's Day. Now here's King Arthur, here we are, and here is his round table, just to remind us. There we go. Did they have lions in those times? That's a good question. Song of the Lioness. Yes, they did have lions. Not many in England, or none in England at this time. No, that's probably not true. I think the Romans, they brought lions to England to sort of mess around with and put in their games and things. But yes, they certainly wouldn't have been naturally occurring in England. But yeah, everyone knew what a lion was. That's for sure. Good question. Yes, Dame Ragnell. They would ride in style. This is true. So our first story starts. It's New Year's Eve and everyone's having a nice big party. We can imagine the knights around the round table, although, just to be annoying, the next picture I'm going to show you is at a long table, just to, I don't know, make the story work better. But King Arthur, he's there and being all kingly. This is late on in his reign. We can assume that Merlin, by this point, is dead, sadly, or turned into a tree, or whatever happened to Merlin. Um, and so the knights, they're used to questing, they're used to doing cool stuff, they're used to weird stuff. A lot of these knights have been out on their journeys, they've killed dragons, they've fought monsters, they've had to deal a lot with fairies or witches, or however you look at it. So these are experienced knights, and King Arthur has experienced himself. But for now, they're just chilling out. They're all together in their castle having a wonderful time, when all of a sudden there's a knock at the door. Boom, boom, boom. The door is opened by the servants, and in trots a huge green knight. Ooh. Now, when I say green knight, I mean a knight who is totally green. You can see a picture of him here. He's got green clothes, he's got green skin, he's got green hair, he's got a green horse who's wearing green jewelry and accessories. He's totally green as green can be. Like if you got a pea and made it into a knight. I don't know where I'm going with that. But in he comes, uninvited, and everyone gasps. Ooh, oh yes, and a green axe. Yeah, yes, the axe is important. So in trots this knight on his great big horse, and he seems to be fairly pleasant, but he stops there on his horse in the middle of the banqueting hall, which is kind of unusual, even for these knights, who are used to fighting weird magical beasties. A totally green knight is a bit bizarre, especially when it just comes to your party without being invited. And so the Green Knight challenges King Arthur to a challenge. He says, "King Arthur, stand up and I will play a little game with you. I will allow you to hit me once with my axe, if you will allow me to hit you back." Now, normal people, like you or I, when asked to go into some kind of axe smashing battle with a mysterious green knight, would probably just say no. But this is Camelot, and honor is everything. So King Arthur cannot be seen to say no, because you can't back down on a challenge, especially if someone's just rudely entered your party. No, you have to stand up and you have to take it like a king. But Arthur hesitates for just a moment, because to be honest, he's a little bit scared by this dude. He's just coming, he's all totally green and stuff. It's not normal. He doesn't want to be hit by an axe with a great big green knight. So he hesitates just for a moment. And in that time, up jumps his nephew, Sir Gawain. And Sir Gawain says, "No, King, I will take on this challenge for you. I am brave and strong and younger than you, and so I will just chop off the head of this demon knight who dares to come into our castle whilst we are partying and ruin our time." The young lioness asks, did he paint his skin green? No, I don't think he did. I think he is just a pure green knight. That's just how he is, Now, I suppose it's worth saying that the Green Knight could well represent nature, because of course he's green, and we can see in him reflections of the old pagan belief in the Green Man, the god of the woodland and the wild places. So it could be him, I suppose, in a disguise. Dame Ragnell says he is a demon, and not a demon, no, but he is not normal, this is for sure. So Gawain pushes Arthur aside and takes up the challenge for him. Now, Gawain is very brave. Gawain is very strong. He is very, skilled with sword and axe and bow and riding horses. So he takes the axe from the Green Knight, who, just sits there on his horse, nice and calm. And Gawain pulls back the axe and thwomp, drives it straight through the Green Knight's neck. His head pops off and gets flung into the far corner of the castle. Whee! And all the knights kind of cheer and go, "Hurrah! Easy peasy. Great stuff." But then there is a strange sound of laughter. It's a very strange laugh. And from the severed head of the Green Knight, these words come forth. Good shot. Nice one. Now it's my turn to attack you with the axe. Oh dear. He seems to have chopped his head off, but the head is not dead, and nor, to be honest, is the rest of the body. The Green Knight's horse, with the Green Knight's body on it, trots over to the corner and picks up the Green Knight's head and holds it up for everyone to see. You know, we're thinking headless horseman here, with the head in his hands. No. And yes, Amir, green lives matter. Quite right. And here's a picture of this. There he is, holding his own head in his hands. And the head says, Sir Gawain, I get to chop at you. But I will wait. You must come and find me. I will be waiting for you in a year and a day, and then I will take my blow. It is a bit weird, isn't it, Erin? It's a little bit weird. And with that, the Green Knight, holding his own head, spurs his green horse, and out they ride into the darkness. Clip clop, clip clop, clip clop, and away. Now, you or I time again. If it were you or I, and we'd just been told by a weird Green Knight that we've got to meet him in a year and a day, and then he gets to hit us with his axe, you or I, me especially, would say, no, I'm busy that day. I'm not going. I'm not going to go and find you. That would be weird. But of course, Gawain is a knight of Camelot. He is noble and chivalrous and brave. And so therefore, of course he's going to go and meet this Green Knight to have him chop at his head. Because otherwise, everyone would think he was a coward, and everyone would think he had broken his promise, and everyone would think that he had cheated at the game. And so, poor old Gawain, well, basically he's got a year left to live, a year and a day, and then he's going to get his head chopped off. Oh. Now, Phoebe and Kezzy rightly say that that Green Knight is very, very strange. He is a strange knight, yes. It's definitely not normal. There's definitely something magical going on here. Magical indeed. And so Gawain, he carries on through the rest of winter at Camelot. He stays there during spring. He stays there for most of summer. But then as summer starts to end, Gawain realizes he's got to go out and start looking for this guy, because he's got to meet him there on, well, New Year's Day, basically, because this was New Year's Eve, so New Year's Day would be a year and a day. So he knows that he has to go, and he has no idea where this Green Knight lives. I mean, it could be anywhere, really, and at this time, Britain is mostly covered in forests, so it's going to be hard work trying to find him. So it's autumn time, and Gawain leaves, riding out on bold Gringolet to go and find a Green Knight who is going to kill him. It's what knights do. It's what knights do. Good old Gawain. So he rides around hither, thither, and yon, all over the place, basically, for months, all through September, October, November. He travels around England, through the forests, over the rivers, up and down the mountains, looking for the Green Knight. Now, Blas says, why does he not just say no? Because he cannot. He agreed to the Green Knight's game. I get to hit you with an axe, you get to hit me with an axe. He couldn't now go back on his word. That was the challenge. He would be a coward, and the rest of the knights would all look at him and shake their heads sadly. Ah, Gawain. You're basically a baby knight. Not good enough for us. And so he may as well not be a knight. Knights, they have to keep their promises. They have to be bold and brave. So he made a promise, albeit to a weirdo who was bright green, whose head was in his own hands, but whatever. A promise is a promise, and now he has to go and find him. But it's not easy. Dame Ragnar asked, does the Green Knight have a name like Bob? No, in our story, he is just the Green Knight, which is a cool name. And Explorer Gengar tells me that he's going to go to the Green Chapel. He is indeed, eventually. He's got to find it first, though. So, all around England he goes, And it's really difficult. It's not just that these woods and forests are big and mysterious. They're full of all kinds of dangerous things. Um, some of the forests have wild beasties in it that Sir Gawain has to fight. He has to fight wyverns, which are like dragons with uh, wings instead of hands. They're like, you know, instead of having two back legs and two front legs, and some wings like a dragon does, they've got two back legs and just two wings, and they just bite at you. Oh, and they got poisonous tails. So that's pretty scary. He has to fight wolves and bears and all kinds. He has run-ins with witches. And to cut a long story short, by the time December rolls around, Sir Gawain is not in a good way. We can imagine he's been out there, travelling around England, fighting beasties and badlings the whole time. And by this point, he's covered in scratches, he's tired, he's hungry, his armour is dented, his horse is, Gringolet just needs a rest, really. But he still keeps on looking. And all this time, he keeps going and asking anyone he can find, where does the Green Knight live? Where does the Green Knight live? But nobody knows. Until, almost completely exhausted, with only a week left to go, Sir Gawain trots up to this weird-looking castle that he's never been to before. He's never seen it before. To be honest, he's not even quite sure where in the country he is. He's so lost by this point. But he trots up to the castle and he knocks on the door. And the door is opened by a rather jolly-looking lord. Oh, here he is, look. Here he is with Gringolet. Travelling around the country. He looks quite good there. This must be him setting out. By the end, he would look a lot rougher. Yes. Katara says that he must have got through all of these creatures because they're extinct now. That's right. There are no more wyverns in England. Not that we know of, unless they're hiding, of course, which is definitely a possibility. So, let's zoom out a little bit. Here we go. So, Sir Gawain comes to this castle, and the door is opened by a wise, noble lord who's very happy looking, big man, big beard, a jolly kind of old fellow, and his beautiful wife. Now, the lord takes one look at him, Gawain, and says, "Oh, you'd better come in. You look a mess," which he does because he's been fighting wyverns all this time. And so Gawain sort of staggers through the door. His horse, Gringolet, goes to the stables. And the Lord welcomes him in, says, "Oh, it's Christmas. Come and have some food. Come and have a wash. Go and sleep in a good bed." But of course, Gawain, although he's messed up and he's very, very tired and he's wounded, he is a bit panicky too. He says, "Oh, I'd love to come in. That'd be amazing. But I've only got a week. I've got to find the Green Knight's house. And if I don't find the Green Knight's house, then I'm going to be terribly ashamed of myself because I'll have broken a promise." Now the Lord, he takes pity on poor Gawain, and he says, "Don't worry, the Green Knight, I know the Green Knight. Yes, you come in here, you rest up for a few days, and I'll tell you what, I'll take you to the Green Knight soon." So Gawain cannot believe his luck. He's got to a castle. He's only got a week left. The dude in the castle seems really nice. And he also has told him that he knows where the Green Knight is, and he'll take him there. It's just amazing. A few people are telling me there's no logic in this story. Logic? In a myth? I don't think there's supposed to be. Oh, some people are saying that this lord should not be trusted, that he is a fake lord. Wow, I don't know. We'll have to see how it goes. Sharon's got it. Now, so Gawain goes to bed. He's fed. He goes to bed. He's all clean and washed, and he has a good night's sleep. In the morning, the Lord wakes him up. Here we go. Here's the Lord here. Here we go. He wakes him up and he says, "I'm off hunting." I like hunting. I will bring you back some food that I hunt if you like. Gawain thinks that's a brilliant idea. The Lord says, there is only one condition. I will go and I will hunt and I will let you have whatever I catch, but only if you let me have whatever you catch in the castle today. Gawain says, okay. Yep, anything that I managed to get in the castle today, I can give to you. That's fine. I mean, it kind of makes sense because, well, it's the Lord's castle anyway, so, and he's not planning on going around the castle taking stuff, so what could he possibly have to share? I mean, yeah, whatever. Okay, sounds like a good deal. If I get anything today in the castle, Lord, then I will give it to you when you get home, and you can give me the meat that you catch. Okay. Lewis has got it too. So, out goes the Lord. Gawain he goes back to bed, has a nice sleep. But then, late morning, he is woken up by the Lord's wife. She's in his bedroom, and she says, wake up, wake up. That's a weird voice, isn't it? She wakes him up, and he's lying there in bed, and she says, oh, you are such a beautiful knight. Please, I have a kiss for you. And she bends over and gives him a great big kiss on the lips. And then off she wanders. Bit weird, thinks Gawain, but I'm not going to complain. Little bit odd, but okay. I mean, I'm in bed. I'm happy. It's all right. So, yuck, says Dragon King. Ugh. And so Gawain then gets out of bed and gets dressed and gets his armor on, or however he dresses, I suppose. And he waits for the Lord to come back. And sure enough, the Lord comes home carrying a nice dead deer. And he says, right then, Gawain, I've got a lovely juicy deer here for you. But you've got to give me anything that you gathered today. So Gawain thinks, fair enough, goes up to the Lord, gives him a great big kiss on the lips. That's what we can see here. Big smoochy. Now the Lord says, thank you very much. That's wonderful. Doesn't really question it. The whole thing is weird. The whole thing is weird. It's a weird story. I'm going to admit it. But Gawain gets to have the meat. It's all good. Okay? Gawain goes to bed, has a nice sleep. Out goes the Lord in the morning, off to hunt his animals. And you guessed it, Gawain is woken up mid-morning. He's very lazy as Gawain. He's in bed very late every day, at least when he's not adventuring. And of course, it's the lady of the house. She bends over him and she gives him 2 great big smoochy yucky kisses. Mwah, mwah. Weird, thinks Gawain, but not entirely awful. I've had worse, so whatever. And sure enough, later that day, when Gawain is out of bed, out in comes the Lord. He's carrying a nice brace of rabbits that he's caught. Pretty good, nice and tasty for Gawain's tea. And of course, Gawain pays him back by giving him everything he gathered that day in the castle, 2 great big kisses on the lips. What a lucky Lord. Maybe. I mean, if it was me and my mysterious nightly guest kept kissing me every day, I'd probably start asking questions. But the Lord does not. Dame Ragnar seems to be shocked that the wife is cheating on the Lord, but the Lord, to be honest, doesn't seem to mind. He doesn't seem to mind at all. It's all fine, honestly. I just don't know why. Maybe, young lioness, maybe. Now, so, day 3. Gawain goes to bed. He has a nice sleep. The Lord gets up in the morning, goes off hunting, and Gawain is woken up by the Lord's wife, the lady of the house. And she says to him, oh my, I love you so much, Gawain. I don't know why, because all she's ever seen him do is sleep, really, but well, I don't know. I love you so much. Maybe you can give me kisses today. Gawain says, no, I am a strong and noble knight, and you are married to the Lord. To be honest, it's a little bit weird and uncomfortable that you keep kissing me anyway. But she says, but look, I will give you a wonderful gift. I will give you my magic belt, which makes me immortal, immune to all violence. Whoa, says Gawain. Hang on, you've got a magical belt, and if I wear that magical belt, I cannot be hurt by any violence, including green axes. And she says, yes, especially green axes. And Gawain goes, wow, that's amazing, because I've got this date with this guy who's going to hit me with a great big green axe. This is amazing. But Gawain is still reluctant to uh, say any more to the lady. He doesn't want to marry the lady because she's already married, so he thinks it's all a bit dodgy. So he thanks her very kindly. He says, thank you for giving me the belt. That's lovely. And then she bends down and she gives him 3 great big wet sloppy kisses. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Now, she's now disappears. Um, sorry, Katara, I don't know what you missed, but he now has a magical belt, and he has 3 beautiful kisses on his lips. Now that evening, home comes the Lord, and the Lord has caught a fine set of wild boar. Very nice. And he says, right, let's swap then. I'll give you these. You can give me whatever you gathered in the castle today. And so Gawain goes to the Lord and gives him 3 great big sloppy kisses. But Gawain does not mention the magic belt. He was supposed to give the Lord the belt because that's the deal. But of course he doesn't give the Lord the belt because he knows that he's going up against the Green Knight who's going to smack him, and he needs to be immune, so he keeps the belt a secret underneath his jacket. Which means that he hasn't quite kept up with the bargain with the Lord. Oh dear. Sharon says this all sounds like some kind of test. A test indeed. But to what end, I wonder? So, Sir Gawain, he travels, he wakes up the next morning, and he knows now that it's time to go and meet the Green Knight. The Lord says that he will take him to the Green Knight's place. He knows where the Green Knight lives. It's actually not that far. You just got to go through the forest, around a little lake, up and down a hill, and you're there pretty much. Okay? And he offers to ride out with Gawain at least most of the way. He doesn't want to go the whole way, he says, but he'll take him most of the way and point him in the right direction. So Sir Gawain gets dressed up into his armor. He gets his sword ready. He puts on the magical belt underneath his armor so no one can see it. And he jumps on Gringolet, and together him and the Lord set out. Now, the Unicorn Sisters ask, when is this story set? That's difficult. During the time of King Arthur. So we're thinking, if we go with the original version, this is between the time that the Romans leave and as the Anglo-Saxons come. So somewhere around the 5th century AD. But in the Christianized versions, it could be later, because Christianity, of course, has really developed in Britain by this time. So it could be a bit later. We don't know, to be honest. It's a myth. So, yeah. So out the 2 of them ride, over hill and dale and through forest and over river, until they are nearly at the place of the Green Knight. And it's then that the Lord turns to Gawain and says, you now go on alone. I have taken you as far as I can, but really, follow this path, go around the trees, and you will find the home of the Green Knight. It is called the Green Chapel. He's a very religious fellow. A chapel is like a little church. Go and find the Chapel of the Green Knight, and good luck, Sir Gawain, you most noble of knights. I don't know. I like to think that they kiss each other goodbye because, they may as well after all the kissing they've been doing, but it doesn't say in the myth. So off goes the Lord, and Gawain keeps going on his way. Now, we've got to remember, this is New Year's Day, or, New Year's Eve now. It's cold, and even though he's got the magic belt on, Gawain hasn't tested it. He doesn't know if it's going to keep him safe, really. I mean, he's only got the words of that frankly quite strange lady who keeps kissing him every day for no particular reason, that it's a magic belt at all. And so he's very, very cautious as he walks through, or as he rides through the forest along the path and suddenly he finds the Green Chapel. Now, there at the Green Chapel, Sir Gawain is met by the Green Knight. In this picture, the Green Knight is shown as a giant, because in some versions he is. In others, he's just, a human-sized knight. He's definitely very mystical and magical, though, eh? And the Green Knight is sat there on a tree stump outside of the chapel, just waiting for Gawain. He knows. He's been waiting a year and a day. He knows what time it is. And so Gawain trots up. Yes, in this picture, very, very fingers now. He is very hairy, isn't he? He's a very hairy knigget. Yes. So Gawain, he rides up, and the Green Knight says, "Welcome, Gawain. I'm glad to see that you have met our special date." How does he have his head? Well, he can put his head back on, can the Green Knight? He's quite magical like that. Yes, I imagine he put his head back on pretty quickly after leaving Camelot that year before. So yes, he has his head back on by this point. Gawain says, "I have come to be killed by you, O Green Knight. Do your worst." And Gawain, he jumps down off of Gringolet, and he bows his head, and the great big Green Knight lifts up his axe and thwumph brings it down. But he misses. "Oh dear," says the Green Knight. "Terribly sorry. I missed you there. I'll try again. The agreement was I get to hit you with my axe, not miss you with my axe, so I'm going to have another go." "Whew," thinks Gawain. "Okay. Number 2. He lifts up the axe, and he brings it down. Whoomph! And he misses again. Gawain is completely untouched, unhurt. Now, the giant, the Green Knight, he pulls back his axe a third time. And he brings it down. Humph! It just cuts through just a bit of the skin on Gawain's neck. Humph! Blood starts to spurt out. But other than a bit of pain, Gawain is absolutely fine. Now, a lot of you are saying, the belt. Maybe it's the belt that's doing this. But then the Green Knight puts down his axe and says, 3 times I have struck at ye, because 3 times you promised me that you would share whatever you gathered in the castle." Says Gawain. "Hang on, what's going on? The first day you gave me a kiss, and that was fine, so I missed. The second day you gave me a kiss, well, 2 kisses, they were quite nice actually, so I missed. The third day you gave me 3 kisses, but I know you kept something back. My wife told me, the belt. So I gave you a bit of a flesh wound to remember me by." And of course, the lord of the castle was none other than the Green Knight in disguise. Dun dun dun. Now, Gawain is a true and bold and brave knight. And if he had just done what was right, i.e. gave the man everything that he had agreed to give to him, he would not have a scar to this day. But unfortunately, because he held back that belt, the scar is there, and it will never fully heal. It will always be a great big scar on his neck to remind him and everyone else that he didn't keep his promise. And so, Gawain, he leaves the Green Knight, and he rides back to Camelot. But he doesn't ride back to Camelot feeling great about himself. No, he feels terrible, because he wasn't true. He wasn't noble the whole time. One little thing he did not, he should have given him the belt, but he didn't, because he was just a bit too scared. And he's going to have to carry that shame forever. Now, the Green Knight can move rather faster than Sir Gawain. And so, Sir Gawain, he puts on the belt that he got from the lady. This green belt it is. And he wraps it around his arm. And he decides that he will forever wear this green belt around his arm as a mark of his shame, because he was not pure enough. So he's got the sash on his arm, the belt on his arm, and he's got his scar on his neck. But the Green Knight is faster than him, so the Green Knight gets to Camelot before him and talks to King Arthur. And by the time Gawain gets home, back to the castle, he enters the castle and all the knights cheer him, and they clap and they hoot and they holler because he has been victorious. But Gawain, of course, feels sad because he knows that he hasn't been as honest as he should have been. But then he looks around the hall and he notices that King Arthur and every other knight in the room are all wearing green armbands just like him, out of solidarity, because they've heard the story from the Green Knight, and the Green Knight has told him all about how awful Gawain is feeling. And so all the knights, they're wearing the same green bands around their arms to show that they forgive him and that they love him anyway. Oh, such wonderful kniggets. Now, this is not Sir Gawain's only adventure, though. That's a year and a day of his life, we've told, but there's more. Because our next story happens a little time later. We're not quite sure when exactly, but it is a little time later. Oh, it is so dramatic, Lucas. It is. But our next story happens during a hunting trip. Okay? King Arthur and his knights are out hunting, and they have decided that they want to hunt this particular deer. Now, usually when the knights go hunting together, they go in a great big group, loads of dogs and horses and people with spears and bows and stuff. And this is a slightly more pagan style of picture, but I like it because it shows the hunt. And they hunt together. But on this occasion, Arthur decides that he wants to go off and catch the deer on his own. So he leaves the safety of all the other knights and he gallops off on purpose into the forest alone after this particular deer. He kind of gives the rest of them the shake. Maybe he just wants to go back to the days when he was a questing hero himself, before he was, surrounded by knights all over the place. But anyway, it doesn't work out well for Arthur. There he is in the forest, chasing the deer. It's getting harder and harder to catch the deer. But then, just as he's about to catch it, and this reminds me of the Ramayana, of course, chasing the deer into the forest. Just as he's about to catch the deer, out from behind a tree stands a terribly scary knight. Now you'll see the picture here. He looks ever so slightly demonic, because this knight is an evil knight. Yes, a creepy knight. That's it, Eliza, yes. And his name is Sir Gromer, not one of the knights of Camelot, like the Green Knight, a different knight from a different place. Katara says, it looks like a sheep man. I suppose it does. With purple skin, yes. Now, our demon knight, our wicked knight, says, "Ha-ha! I could kill you right here and now, King Arthur." King Arthur says, "Oh no," because he realizes that, yeah, he probably can. King Arthur's not as young as he used to be. He hasn't got his sword and armor on. He's got his hunting equipment instead, which isn't as good. And here's a fully grown, fully armored demon knight right in front of him. It's a bit scary. Sir Gromer says, "I will let you live, and I will let you go back to Camelot on one condition." And this condition is going to be similar to the other one, to be honest. "You have a year in which to answer my question. If you can answer my question, then I will let you live. If you cannot, then in 1 year I will come and find you, and I will take your life." Now, King Arthur then, he says, okay. Yeah, I suppose all my knight friends, they're not around me. I can't really stop you. So, okay, tell me what the question is, Sir Gromer. And Sir Gromer says, "You must find out what women want most." Okay, thinks the king. And I've got a year to do that? Yes. All right. Okay, I'll see you in a year, creepy demon knight, and I will tell you what women want most. Cackles Sir Gomer and disappears in a puff of purple smoke, or at least he does in my version. So, King Arthur wanders back through the forest until he finds his knights, and he's feeling quite dishevelled. He tells all his knights what his quest is. He says, My quest is to find out the answer to the question, what do women want most? All women, say the knights. Yes, I'm pretty sure it's all women. That's going to be tricky, say the knights. Well, I don't know, says King Arthur. I think it's kind of easy. The knights say, fine, what do you think the answer is then, King Arthur? Arthur says, well, obviously it's me. I'm amazing. All women want me. I'm the king. Check out my crown. The knights say, that's unlikely, isn't it, actually? And King Arthur's a bit offended. He says, what? What do you mean it's unlikely? I'm amazing. Look at me. I'm the king of Camelot, king of all England. But then the knights very kindly and politely point out all of the witches and fairy women that have tried to kill him over the years, and he realizes that, yes, actually, not all women want to be married to King Arthur because, a lot of them don't like him. Okay, thinks King Arthur. He has another little think. Chips. I've never met a woman who doesn't like chips, says King Arthur. The other knights kind of shake their heads. It's true, they say. Most women do like chips, yes, but it's probably not the thing they like most. This is true, thinks King Arthur. Maybe they do like other things more than chips. This is going to be hard, he says. And he looks very downtrodden, very, very sad and mournful. And then, of course, up steps Sir Gawain. He says, don't worry, King. Don't you worry at all. I will help you out. We've got a year. We will find... sorry in the chat there. We will find the answer to your question. You and me, King, will do it together. Uncle, I suppose we should say. And so Arthur feels a little bit better, and him and Gawain, they decide to find the answer to the question. Now, at this point, Arthur decides he's going to find the answer to the question by going to Camelot and talking to the knights and stuff, whereas Gawain decides that he's going to find the answer to the question by, going on a quest. Now, the evil Knigget, he's out there somewhere in the forest, being all evil. And so Gawain decides that that's where he'll start. He'll start looking around the forest, see if he can find this evil knight. And so, as Arthur and the rest of the knights go back to Camelot, Sir Gawain, on Gringolet, starts riding through the forest, shouting for Sir Groma. Now, it's not long before Sir Groma appears from behind a tree. Says the demon knight, or whatever he is. Gawain says, look, this is a terrible question you have asked my lord. How is he supposed to find the answer in just a year? I think your question is impossible. Sir Groma says, it's not. He says, in fact, you will find the answer quite easily if you agree to just one thing. You must marry my sister. Okay, says Gawain, this is getting weirder than I thought it would. I mean, is your sister a great big purple demon as well? Sir Groma says, I think Eliza just says, just ask a lady. Yeah, you could do, couldn't you? I suppose that might be a place to start. But these knights, no, they're going to go and ask demons and other knights. I'm sure it'll work out. So Sir Gawain, he says, okay, well, in order to save the life of my king, I suppose I will have to marry your sister. I'm sure it won't be that bad. And Sir Groma says, fine, I will send her to you soon, and you two shall be married. When you are married, she shall tell you the answer, and then Arthur's life will be spared. A goodbye. Poof. There he goes. Sharon is saying he looks blue, not purple. No, you're quite right. I mean, there are many, many versions of these stories, and it's true. Alexander is telling me that in his version that he's read, that Sir Groma lives in a castle in the middle of a lake, and he can take away the strength from all knights just by looking at them. Yes, like I say, lots of different versions indeed. So, Sir Gawain, he rides back to the castle. He's feeling a bit apprehensive because, well, to be honest, now he's agreed to marry someone who he doesn't know, and it could turn out terribly. I mean, she could be a great big purple demon monster. She could just, I don't know, not like chips. I mean, it's really hard. He doesn't know what to do. Um, but he has made a promise, and he's doing this for his king. And so he waits there in the castle until one day, with a great fanfare, up comes a group of soldiers and knights, all escorting this fine chariot. And in the chariot is the lady of, well, what will be Gawain's wife, Lady Ragnell. Ooh. Now, unfortunately for Gawain, Lady Ragnell is hideous. An ugly beastie. Yes, she is particularly ugly, and to be honest, this picture does not do the ugliness justice. I mean, this picture looks a bit grim, but it's not that bad. I mean, the Lady Ragnall, we've got to imagine this, but with tusks, maybe her teeth falling out, maybe more warts, maybe some like weird little horns poking out. I mean, she's pretty gross. I mean, this is a traditional picture of her, but I think in our story, she's going to be way worse and kind of like a weird purpley blue color. Um, um, so Lady Ragnell, she is, yeah, she's quite a horrific beastie. Gawain, at first, is taken aback. He needs to marry this woman, as we may describe today, a hippocrocopig. It's not a good thing for poor old Sir Gawain, but he has made a promise. He has promised uh, Lord Gomer, Sir Gomer, that he will marry his sister. He has promised it because he's going to save the life of his king. And to save the life of his king, like any good knight, he will do anything. Oh, Katara says he should marry Lady Ragnell and then divorce her when she answers the question. No, that would be a terrible crime. And of course, Jay is also saying they could get a divorce. No, this is a good Christian story. There is no divorce in medieval England. Certainly not. Not until Henry VIII comes along, and this is long before Henry VIII. So no, once you marry a woman in medieval England, you stay married to them forever. Or he could just kill her. What? I said she's ugly. I hadn't said she's mean. She's just a bit funny looking. God, I don't know. You people, such high standards. So Gawain agrees that he will marry Lady Ragnall because that was his promise to the knight, and it's saving the king's life. And so the two of them get married. They have a wonderful wedding, and the wedding is interesting, perhaps. I mean, we've got the strange-looking woman coming down the aisle in her dress. All of the people who are watching the wedding, they're kind of trying to put a brave face on it, but all secretly they're thinking, ugh, poor Sir Gawain, he's got to marry that thing. And it's not going great. Oh, and Liza asks, why would you want to wake up to that every morning? Well, he maybe wouldn't, but he's promised, and she's not horrible. She seems quite nice, to be honest. She's very polite. She's very pleasant. She seems quite funny. I mean, she just looks a bit odd, that's all. I mean, there's worse things in life, I suppose. And so the two of them get married in a rather subdued celebration, shall we say. And that night, they go off to live together in their special rooms in the castle. And Gawain says, right then, you are now my wife. I will treat you like any other wife. And he gives her a great big kiss. And all of a sudden, she completely changes. Ooh. She changes into a beautiful princess. I don't know. I've got to point out, this story was done before feminism was a thing, but whatever. She changes into a beautiful princess. That's how this one works. So, Lady Ragnall. Oh, good, says Katara. Phew. So she turns into a beautiful princess. Quite right, Dame Ragnell. Do not judge a book by its cover. Yes, quite right. So the lady, she is now beautiful and fair. And she says to Sir Gawain, thank you. I was cursed to be hideous until a true knight married me. And you have married me and you have set me free of this curse. Gawain says, "Oh, well, my pleasure, my lady. Looks like we're going to go on swimmingly now." And she says, oh, he says, "I have a question for you. What do women want above all other things? What do they want most?" And she says, "Why, that is easy, my husband. They want to be given free choice. They want to be able to make up their own minds, to be free spirits. They want to make their own decisions." And so Sir Gawain says, "Great. Yeah, that sounds pretty good, actually. Yeah, quite a simple answer now you mention it. Probably could have worked that out ourselves if we'd maybe spent more time thinking about it and less time riding around on horses. But hey ho, we're married now. Excellent. But," says the lady, "unfortunately, the curse is not entirely broken. Um, I can only stay beautiful for half of each day. Now, would you prefer me to be beautiful in the day when you are away and others can see me, or would you prefer me to be beautiful at night when we are together and only you can see me?" Now, Gawain sits back down, has a think. There are pros and cons. If you're beautiful in the day, you won't scare my friends. But if you're beautiful at night, I won't have to sleep with an ugly creature thing. This is a toughie. He thinks and he ponders, and then he has a flash of inspiration. He uses his noggin. He says, "I tell you what, my dear wife, since the most important thing to women is that they have their own choice and they can make up their own minds, then maybe you should choose. You can decide, would you rather be beautiful in the morning or in the night time? It's up to you." And at that, the Lady Ragnall, Gawain's wife, breaks down into tears. Suffragettes, why are they so late? Yes, well, where are the suffragettes in our story? They're not there. Um, she breaks down into tears and she says, "Because you have given me the gift of making my own choice, the curse is now truly broken. I will be ugly no more, neither in the day nor the night. I will always look like this." I mean, I guess with a caveat for aging, I assume she's going to get older and, I mean, nobody stays the same, do they? But whatever. In our story, she says, "I will always stay like this now because you gave me my own choice. And because you are so good and pure, I can now be beautiful." I mean, I'm not sure what's going on with the messaging here, people, but that's the story, okay? Don't blame me. It's an old story. So, the queen, the lady, she stays beautiful forever. And her and Gawain get to live happily ever after, man and wife, knight and lady, just those two, and I assume Gringolet. It's probably Gringolet carries them both around, and they sort of sit on its back and wave and things, and never more a beautiful couple has ever been known than wonderful Gawain and Lady Ragnell. So, a happy ending, even if slightly confusing mixed messages there. Um, Katara says the message is, "Always be nice to women or something bad will happen." Yeah, this is true. Oh, did he tell Gomer? Yes, so of course, Gawain shares this really tricky piece of information. What do women want most? Well, to make their own minds up. Yeah, okay, go figure. Had a year to work that one out, guys. But yes, he shares that with King Arthur. King Arthur rides out into the castle, into the forest, or meets Sir Gomer, tells Sir Gomer that what women want most is to make their own decisions. Although he does ask Sir Gomer, is he really sure it's not chips? Chips are good. Sir Gomer says, no, you got it right the first time. Don't worry about chips. So King Arthur lives, Sir Gawain lives, Gringolet lives, and Lady Ragnall lives too. And they all live happily ever after in Camelot. Huzzah! So there we are. Some medieval mythology today. Why chips? I don't know why chips. Seemed like a good idea at the time in my head. I should think these things through before I say them, shouldn't I? Oh yes, of course, Dame Ragnell. Until, of course, they all die. That's true, because such is life. All right, thank you very much, everyone. I hope you enjoyed today's stories, and I will see you all next week. Goodbye. Bye.